And Press driving in deep, receives the ball, jumps over the keeper, shoots, goal! Christen Press, tremendous play, facing a diving goalkeeper, manages to score. What a tremendous goal by Christen Press.
Christen Press's dream has always been to play for the U.S. national team.
And I always like to say, in the women's game, we're not trying to do what the men are doing. We're writing our own story, and this is like our journey, and this is our World Cup, and we own it.
However, the realization of that dream nearly ended out of sheer frustration.
I think a lot back to my time at Stanford.
Well, I think her entire career at Stanford was phenomenal. She was a leading goal scorer. Her senior year, she had 26 goals and won the Herman Trophy. So many great memories of her representing Stanford.
Well, it looked from the outside that I was having this successful career, and I did. I had a lot of fun. I think I always played with a weight, feeling like I wasn't doing enough, that I wasn't at my potential.
Yeah, I think she's a perfectionist, so she puts a little bit too much pressure on herself. And the important thing for her was just to enjoy playing and love it and have that passion for the game. And I think she kind of went through cycles of struggling with so much pressure on her to be successful.
I know that in her blog that she writes, she's discussed at a point hating soccer. I think she even alluded to wanting to quit. For quite a while, Christen played with so much pressure. And the pressure that she felt was relentless.
I mean, Press is very keen on performing the best she can, and she puts a lot of pressure on herself.
I mean, if you look at Christen's career from a distance, it's like this dream, she's this little girl who played, and she got to play with her, neighborhood kids, and then she just went on to this great university and did so much there, and then she went, and it sounds like a dream. But up close, in terms of frustrating and pressure and all, it's like a nightmare at times for her.
And I decided that I wouldn't be able to continue playing soccer if that's how it was going to be.
So we did talk about that, we did work on that, and she once told me that she was very happy that I helped her to find the happiness of playing again.
Feeling like I wasn't doing enough, that I wasn't at my potential, wanting to be on the national team and never being called in. So I think that was kind of always in the back of my mind. How can I get to that level? What am I doing wrong?
Obviously, a player at this level always want to win, always want to perform the best they can, but at the same time, they need to learn how to embrace the moment and live in the now and not get into that bubble and then realize after the game, where were I in this game?
You're waiting for the phone to ring, and you're just holding your breath. And I think that the longer it went, the more it was built up inside me. And towards the end of my career, end of my college career, I have a vivid image of me just having tears coming down my face on the field, because I just felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't enough.
And she put a lot of individual practices and extra practice into what we did. And I also know she put a lot of individual work on the side in terms of the mental part to, have visualization of being successful and some meditation and stuff like that. But that's her own work. I couldn't take credit for that.
So when the changes were made and I refound my passion for the game, I recently was told that I have the biggest smile when I'm playing.
Yeah, I mean, Christen, she's a great person and has a wonderful smile, and I think she scored. I remember her scoring so many goals, and after she scores, she always has that big smile, and I know everyone at Stanford loved that about her.
I remember when Ronaldinho was very successful, for example, he was famous for his smile. I think all players have different ways of being successful. You can have that competitive face on and you're successful, or you can have that smile on to be successful. Every player needs their own tools to reach their full potential, and in Christen's case, it's that smile to make her relax a little bit more and to deal with the pressure that she has on her shoulder. So that's her tool.
that's the biggest compliment I've ever received, because it just shows the transformation for how I was feeling for a lot of years towards soccer and how I love it now.
LaRue from the byline, her cross, Bryant attacking. Press follows up. 5-0 United States.
I got my people with me now. You ain't bringing me down tonight. We in the clouds and I'm alright. Got my hands up for a better day. We gon' celebrate. I had this feeling that I found that things will turn around. Everything will work out and I'm alright now. These fears, time to put away this doubt.
Let's go to the tournament in Brazil, last game before the final. The U.S. needs a big win to advance. You have one of your best games at the international level. You score 4 goals against Argentina. The U.S. needed a win against Argentina to advance to the finals.
Pass to the outside. Kreiger sends a cross in. Press. Go. Goal number 4. Christen Press. She has now netted 4 goals. It's her own new personal record. And the U.S. will now advance to the final to face Brazil.
That was my first time ever scoring 3, let alone 4 goals at the international level, and it was exciting. And I got a lot of hugs from my teammates, and that means a lot. We knew what we had to do. We had to have a 7-goal difference that game in order to have a chance at the final, and the expectation couldn't be higher. And our game had been canceled from the night before because of rain. And those are the moments where I think that I do have a bigger impact on the team. I think that just having dealt with a lot of change and transition, I can keep a smile on my face and I can laugh when everyone's a little bit frustrated, and I think that brings something good to my team. And I felt that going into the Argentina game. Our fans deserve a good result, and we got out there on the field, and I stayed especially close to the goal, let's say.
But days before the final match, it was announced that Press would not be playing in the final championship game against Brazil. Before the final game against Brazil, there was some media reports saying that you would not be playing.
My grandmother passed away. So I had to fly home directly from the Argentina game back to California to be there for her memorial.
So sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
It's obvious that Christen has deep support from her family and her parents. Do you feel like that support gives her an extra edge when she's having a challenging game, knowing that no matter what happens, she has people who believe in her?
Absolutely. She acknowledges it, that we're there, so I know she knows it. And that's what's important to me, and my husband and her sisters. We were there when she lost in the Champions League final.
I do think it was very tough for her to experience that loss in the final. And I think all the athletes can recognize those emotional roller coasters and those setbacks. But I also think that dealing with those setbacks can make you a winner and being successful in the long run.
She always gives everything she's got, and that's all we're expecting. When she has a bad game, I don't tell her. I learned that because there was a time when I would try to critique her game right after her game.
Our dogs are absolutely incredible, the 2 little puppies. I'm so attached to them. Every time I leave, I cry and give them little kisses. They're the best, and I think that it definitely shows that it's just human nature to want to love and to care and to support.
If I wrote a song for you, would it change your mind? Tell me now what I should do. Tell me if I'm wasting my time. I don't know who you are, 'cause even when I'm close to you, baby, you still seem so far away.
Stop that. Let me take you. Oh. Your heart's racing, little monkey.
If I bought the moon for you, would it make you smile?
Champion League final. Who wants to write about a heartbreak? That is what May brought. A heartbreaking loss in the Championship League final and a sad ending to the best chapter of my soccer life. As much as the first goal against rattled us, it was nothing compared to the second. In just 10 minutes, we lost our lead and all of our confidence. I looked at the faces of my teammates. Their faces seemed stricken with panic. It was chaos. After everything we'd been through, this was not how it was supposed to end. As they raised the cup under a downpour of confetti, I thought, soccer is a cruel, cruel game.
Right after the Champions League final loss, it was really difficult for me to write about what had happened.
What we managed to do is we managed to keep the field like a holy ground, and we said every time we pass that white line, nothing can take away the game from us.
It was so emotional, and it hit me so deep. And you know, I have been writing a blog for 2.5 years, and this is the biggest game, and I'm sure that it was expected that I would write about it, and I couldn't find the words. It's not easy. Playing soccer is a lot like being in a relationship, and you have your ups and your downs, and you take your heartbreak when you take, you know, the best, most passionate moments of your life.
We're going to perform all we can on the pitch. Whatever happens out there, whatever people say, whatever about the finance problem or organizational problem, we are going to be proud of what we can do. And I think that is what brought us to the Champions League final, although it was a roller coaster emotional-wise.
And that was a rough one. And it really shattered me to the core. But it didn't take as long as it used to take me to get back up. And now, as I sit here and I look back on it, I look back on it and I'm so proud of what we did. And I don't think I felt like that before when I've lost.
Here we've been through a lot together, and we actually played very good in the final, and we were up twice in the game, and we didn't manage to pull it through, and all of us were convinced that we would bring that cup, that Champions League cup, to the group, and not doing that, I think that's what she meant, is really cruel to experience something like that.
I lost in 2 national championships with Stanford. I lost in 2 youth national championships with my club teams, and I would carry that anger with me everywhere when I played.
And it was kind of a crisis, to be honest, but in crisis, if people get together, they get emotional connected in a way that they might not do if everything is rolled on a red carpet and you just walk through those without a hurdle.
But when I look back at the Champions League, I wish it had gone our way. I just don't believe that that's how the story was supposed to end. It was such an epic tale, and I just can't believe it had a sad ending.
Let's go back to Europe. On your blog, you wrote, minute 91, we're winning 2-0, and I feel so powerful as we pass the ball around Birmingham with control and freedom. I decide to give it one last max sprint and take the ball charging at midfield. I find Marta, and she finds me back, 1-2. The first and only English word from her mouth on the field escapes, wait. As she sprints past the back line, I pass her the ball behind the defense, and it's over. When we huddle around her in celebration, she's crying. She looks at me and says, thank you. And that is the proudest moment of my soccer career.
I guess the semifinal of Champions League against Birmingham was a very special moment.
Goosebumps. That was a great memory of the Champions League journey, and also the connection between Press and Marta.
We had tied away 0-0, so we knew we had to score to win. We had the home field advantage in the second leg, and the game was really close, and there was a lot of media drama and attention bouncing around before the game went, and you know, some of the media from the other side was saying negative things about Marta and kind of trying to get in her head because she hadn't scored in Birmingham and I hadn't scored, nobody had scored. So they were like, where's Marta? Oh, she's in her pocket.
It's competitors, it's people that want to win, and they're ready to sacrifice a lot to win. And the journey that we have gone through with that group was extreme in terms of the financial struggle and all the turbulence going on around there.
Saying just like obnoxious things to the media and trying to get us riled up, and at the same time our team was dealing with a financial crisis in our club and some players weren't getting paid, and it was just a big dramatic moment for us. And the second half begins and we're still 0-0. And pretty early in, we get a penalty shot, and Marta goes up to take it. And there's a Birmingham player whispering in her ear, telling her she's going to choke, and she thinks she's the best player in the world, and who does she think she is, and just, general the trash talk that's involved behind the scenes. And then Marta missed the penalty kick, and her body language just totally changed. One of the best things about her is that she's such an emotional player, and she wears it on the field, and I think that fans and players alike, we love it. She's mad, you see that she's mad, she's sad, you can see that it's part of her Brazilian style, and all of us are trying to pick her up and tell her that it's okay and that we're going to win and keep pushing on. But there was a significant change.
The reason I brought Press to Tyresö is that she's always had the individual skills, the pace and the ability to score goals. What we worked very, very hard on in the time in Tyresö was the connection to other players and play with and off each other to make each other even better.
Then when we went up 2-0, the rest of the team was so far up. We were so happy and proud, and I think that Marta was still living in this moment, that she had let another player get into her head. So I think that all the build-up to that was what made that moment so special. Obviously playing alongside the greatest attacker to ever play on the women's game.
And that 1-2 and the way they feed each other and the way they connected after very hard work to find that connection, Marta and Press, I think that's one of the reasons why she is very proud, because it's a lot of work behind that 1-2 and that connection.
It was a lot about earning her respect, and playing it, in a front line, there's a lot of back and forth, who's scoring more, who's doing this and that, and I think that it took a lot of work for Marta and I to find our piece together on the field and to be able to play well together. And in that moment, I felt that it was more than winning and losing. It was more than scoring and not scoring. It was about growing as two people, and she was so happy, and she felt such relief when she put the ball in the back of the net, and I was so happy that I could contribute to that. It's just those special moments in the game.
After graduating from Stanford, Christen was drafted by the Washington Freedom in the struggling U.S. Women's League. Under new ownership, the team moved to Florida and was renamed Magic Jack. She was awarded the U.S. Soccer Federation's Rookie of the Year for the first ever hat trick scored by a rookie. Unfortunately, the league folded, but Christen's talent was needed in Europe. She was discovered by Tony Gustafsson, who was coaching for Titisuu. Christen's success was apparent to everyone around her, but there was one goal that continued to be just beyond her reach: a spot on the national team. She sought advice from coaches and trainers and put in extra time after practice, trying to realize that magical combination of skill and performance. The temptation to quit and give up was always in front of her. But the hope of playing at the highest level, her dream for years, compelled her to keep honing her craft. So on to Europe she went. Under Coach Gustafsson's guidance, Press continually improved. Enough so that one day after an extended practice, Press received a life-changing phone call.
No athlete is ever simply handed a spot on the national roster. This is something that you have to prove to your coach, your team, and to the media, which you just told us about, having those self-doubts and overcoming them. Tell me how it felt when you did receive that phone call and how your reaction was.
I think that that when I left for Sweden, I had been playing in front of what I thought was the national team scouts for years, and I hadn't got that phone call. So when I decided to move 6,000 miles away to a small league that very few Americans even knew existed, I thought that that was saying goodbye to my international career. I thought that this was going to be a new time and a new era, and I was going to play abroad in Europe, and I was going to get those amazing experiences, and I didn't need the national team. And so I think I left a lot of that sense of failure, that doubt, that insecurity behind me when I opened myself up to this new opportunity. And in the end, it ended up being the roundabout way to the national team, because just after maybe 2 months playing in Sweden, the national team coach, she'd seen me play. That was April of 2012. I was sitting in the locker room of my team. I had been shooting a little bit after practice, and I was the only one left. And the phone rang. And, the phone doesn't really usually ring when you're abroad. No one wants to pay for the international call. So I'm like, who's calling me?
Press and a few other players in this U.S. team never made the youth team.
And I was an unknown number, and for some reason I picked up.
If you have a goal set for you and work hard, you can reach it.
It was the GM, and I was getting my first chance to play with the national team.
Years of practice, determination, and a never-give-up mentality led Christen to become a member of the U.S. women's national team. Christen faces a new challenge.
I'm still adjusting, and I'm still in that process of making it on the team, earning my starting spot, fighting with some of the best players in the world for playing time.
On a team deep with star players, she must find something special to earn a starting position on the field.